Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken can take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars in the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. Live and loud, they're breaking the mold. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploding like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can't fight. From sports to politics.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good morning. Hope it's a good one. Fred getting there early. And Fred, it's funny. When I see Fred's comment, it always reminds me of one thing. Move the mic. Move the mic. Fred is commenting. If I don't move the mic, Fred's in the comments going, Ken, move the mic. All right. Well, hey, it's hopefully Joe will get here in a minute. Ken will be back tomorrow. I will be gone tomorrow. I get to go to play Air Force games. So I watch my kid graduate from Air Force basic training. Ooh. So yeah, looking forward to that. Can't believe it's already here. Football wise, we were talking about the draft yesterday and the lack of oomph, like about the draft. And then of course we get a trade rumor. Yeah, the Giants, Dexter Lawrence requested trade. Every team fan base is already dreaming up their little scenarios and how they're going to trade from. I've seen some Bears ones already, where the Bears give up the 25th. And I think their first, second rounder this year for them. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, dude's got a contract, so that's problematic for most teams. I just hate when this happens. Like, because we're getting ready for the draft, you've gone through free agency. People's rosters are pretty much where they're at, right? Money wise, they've spent their money, and then you get. After everyone's spent their money, you get a guy going, oh, I want to trade now. So now, New York is, I don't know if they're going to try to trade him, but who has the money to trade for him? I don't know. Good morning, Joe.
What's up, dude? You're talking about Dexter Lawrence?
Yeah, like, it's like
actually the trade wouldn't be expensive. It's the salary that's going to be expensive. Like, from what I've been seeing, it's a late first or a second round pick that could get the deal done. But he wants a brand new market setting contract. That's going to be the problem.
Well, and he's due $22 million this year, which is also a problem for most teams with the salary cap. So, like, for the Bears, someone said, oh, they'd give up like 25 and like 50 something, a late first and a second round pick for him. It's like, then you got to pay him. And it's like, like, this would have been good to know 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whatever, before teams spent all their cap money,
And just throwing it out there, he had half a sack last year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this is the time to be, like, I kind of want to see a rebuilding year from him first, like, where he has 9 sacks before I go make a deal like that,
I mean, okay, so Joe Sean, how do you say his name? Joe Sean, whatever. He's like, look, we're not going to trade him. He had 7.5 sacks in 22, right? And then he had 9 in 24. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, last year, half a sack, 12 quarterback pressures. You're not going to get a market setting anything with that. I mean,
yeah,
I'm happy we don't have any money, at least for this. I mean, but I just hate that when you get, you're at this point, we're in that like period where GMs have spent their money, they've executed their spending plan, if you will, for the off season with free agency. And now they're fully in the throes of draft prep, right? And then he goes, "Oh, well, I want to trade." Well, now here's the thing that sucks about that for the New York Giants. And I hope the New York Giants said, "Yeah, it's nice to want things, but guess what? We're busy right now. Sorry." Because, they're fully engaged in draft prep. And people are like, "Well, yeah, but I mean, how hard would it be to deal with trying to trade the guy?" Because that's taking time away from your GM for meetings about players and talking about players and looking through tape and doing comparisons and stacking your boards and doing all the other things that they have to do. And now they got to waste time because your ass wants to trade after your half sack season last year and you think you should get a market setting deal.
Or, I mean, no, not or, and I would say because you're right, it does take time away from what they're trying to do with their draft plan. But maybe this was calculated on Dexter Lawrence's part. You're 3 weeks out from the draft, and all of a sudden you want to trade. It's like maybe he's looking to be a draft night trade.
Yeah, I mean,
And honestly, for the Giants, that's not a bad deal. I mean, you can't afford, you don't want to give him a new contract, right? So you could get a late first round pick for him. In addition, you already have a first round pick. Like,
yeah, but who's gonna want to give with his production and his attitude of like, I want a bag? Who's gonna want to
oh,
trade?
there'll be a team out there. I mean, the Cleveland Browns. I don't know what their cap situation looks like though, but with Deshaun Watson, but there's potentially a team like think about Baltimore, like a team that thinks that they're one piece away.
Yeah, but you got to have money, right? I mean, let me see if
Yeah.
I can find out who's got what. Like, well, first let me look up his contract. But let me see what over the cap is. Excuse me. If you look at, let me pull up the Giants real quick. His contract this year, his cap number is $26.9 million. So
And he
let's
wants a raise.
see who has cap space.
And he wants a raise, ladies and
He
gentlemen.
wants a raise. So here's the team cap space. Yeah, and here's the cap space. There's, I'll go from what I say was 29 mil this year, right? So for the
Mhm.
teams that can afford him up at 29.5, so they technically cannot afford him, the Ravens, the Niners at 30.5 mil, the Seahawks at 32.9, the Eagles at 34.8, the Pats at 35.2, the Jets at 39.5, the Cardinals at 40.8, the Chargers at 48.6, the Commanders at 49.6, and the Titans at 63.2. Now on that list, take out the Commanders, take out the Eagles, because they're not going to trade him in the division, and have to face him twice a year. So you're left with possibly, without having the Ravens could just cut a bench guy. You got the Ravens, the Niners, the Hawks, the Pats, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Chargers, and the Titans are teams that can afford them this year. That's it. Oh, and then they got to be willing to give
I have heard rumors. I have heard rumors that the Niners might be interested.
But I mean, with his stat line,
Yeah,
he's not even worth what he's getting.
I totally agree. In fact, if I was the Giants, I'd be like, a raise, bro. Why don't you kick us half that salary back from last year? Like half a sack. What are we paying you for? But
Fred's like, hey, we only pay him if he's got injury history. That's why we're
Yeah.
trading for JJ McCarthy next.
But there's a team out there that'll bet on his production from 24. And I mean, the Niners, like you pair him up with Bosa, dude, like, man.
Yeah, but 9 sacks. I mean, that's not a bad year. But
For a defensive tackle, that's really good. But
yeah,
he's coming off a season where he had half a sack. That's for an all pro, that's terrible. Like that, I mean, there's guys off the Raiders bench last year that had more sacks than that.
I
Tonka
mean,
Hemingway, for example. Tonka Hemingway had 4 sacks last season as a rookie defensive tackle.
yeah, I
And
just
here,
don't
Dexter
see.
Lawrence is an all-pro.
I don't see him getting the bag he thinks he's the 11th highest contract at defensive tackle right now. I don't know. I mean, look, if you can get a first rounder out of him, a late first rounder, cool. But look at the teams that have cap. Oh, Bears fans, because Bears fans always are in on these. Dude, we are negative cap right now. The Bears are technically. So are the Vikings.
I'm not giving up a late first for him.
Yeah,
Like,
the
if
team.
it's me, if they want a second, it's a late second for me. Like, if I got a second at the end of the second round, that's almost a third. Okay, because
Well,
I'm yeah, half a
let me
sack.
open it up. Let me open it up to active cap, 'cause that was cap space, and they got what they call active cap space. The list doesn't really change. Um, it does like the Jets have 39.5 in cap, but they only have 23.6 available in active cap because because of all the people that got signed and whatnot. I don't know how that breaks out. But the Bears have $243,000 in cap. They're not trading from. The Vikings have 4.8. I'm just, so the North fans, I got to go to Fred's team. The Lions have 23.6. They might be stupid enough to do that, but, he doesn't have the injury history. The Raiders have 23.4. I don't think they're going to do it. The Packers are at 22 mil. I mean, those are all teams that he would be maybe good for in terms of maybe contributing something because they have good defenses, right? Um, does it sound strange to include the Raiders in that? No. Not after this offseason. And I don't think anyone's going to want to pay him. Like, none of those teams are going to want to pay him. He's going to have to go to a team that, like the Jets, that kind of suck. But if you're the Jets, why you don't want to? He's old. He's
And you
28.
just got rid of Quinnen Williams to
Yeah.
try
So
to
why are you going
rebuild.
to do it?
So why are you going to
Yeah.
go make that trade?
Right.
Makes no sense.
But Q is much better. So I mean, this is one of those things where the players like not reading the room, whereas ego is getting in the way. And like, I don't know, it's like, was he injured last year? Did he have injury issues last year? I don't think he did.
No, he got injured at the end of 24, and there's speculation that that injury is what slowed him down in 25. I think he hurt like his arm or something like that, and that's the speculation is that injury carried into 25, and he played. He was down because of it, and that this year he should be fully healthy, but still, like Dex, I agree with you on the fact that he's not reading the room because in the NFL you don't get paid for what you did, you get paid for what you're about to do, and
Right.
like he's wanting to get paid. He's thinking I've been underpaid for these last few years for the production that I put out, so I should get paid now. And people are like, "You had half a sack last year, dude. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
go
and a
and give you a
lingering
bank breaking contract."
and you got it's a lingering elbow injury he's got. So it's like, hey, the Lions maybe they might step up. I don't know. But I mean,
And isn't he? He's like 29 or 30, isn't he?
28. 28.
28.
Yeah,
He's still got time.
he might turn 29 before the season starts. I mean, he's got time. I mean, we see these guys playing well into their 30s now, 33, 34.
Hmm.
The Chargers could be interesting with Mac being there.
Hmm.
Um,
I was thinking
or,
that too, but I didn't want to put it out into the universe
yeah,
just in case he has a resurgence.
but I mean, it's just I don't think anyone's gonna want to give him a bag. Like, honestly, teams are gonna look at him like the Bears looked at Edmonds, like you're overpaid. That's why he's now a Giant, making half as much as he was last year. It's like, I get it. You want to get paid and stack as much money as you can, but dude, you're making $22 million this year. Dude, just that alone, you're set for life. You know, um, I mean, okay, if you're only making 15 mil, you're still making 15 mil a year. You're going to be okay, more than okay. it just amazes me sometimes with these players. Like, well, like I can understand, like, okay, Urlacher. I come back, Urlacher. The Bears offered him 3. He ended up retiring because he wanted 4 or something like that. It's $1 million difference. Anyway, that was Brian Urlacher at the end of his career. So you're talking in 2012. That's how far we've come with these contracts. Urlacher was making like $3 million a year. Now these guys, like, that the rookie, the vet minimum is like over $1 million now. I mean, and Urlacher at the time is like, look, 3's not bad. Don't get me wrong, but for what I put my body through, I'd want 4 because I'm risking debilitation. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, it's $1 million. It made sense on that piece for him. But these guys now, it's like, well, I want the bag. I want to be the highest paid in my position, even though I'm not doing anything anymore, and I got an elbow injury. I need to protect my future. Dude, you just made over $100 million in your last contract. I mean, you're not worth the money you're getting paid now. No one's going to pay you more. It's not like you're Myles Garrett putting up a sack machine. You had a half a sack and 12 quarterback pressures, which is pretty pedestrian. Every team in the league has someone at defensive tackle who's matched that or done better. So you're a middle of the pack player now. I think though teams would be willing to give you more than those guys based off your previous performances on the hope that you're going to do better because the elbow is better. But like, dude, you're not going to get 20 some plus mil anymore. Like, and then the thing is, well, I'll just walk away from the league. Like, okay, I mean, you look, $1 million, Urlacher leaving $1 million on the table, I kind of get. Leaving 15 on the table, no.
He's not going to retire. It's all
No.
posturing. He'll either he'll get traded or he'll shut up and play for the Giants this year, like, and make the 20 mil. Like,
Fred does bring up a good point though on the taxes. Depending on what state you live into, you got. I mean, look at it. These guys with these big contracts, we forget they got federal income tax, which is at a high rate. Some state income taxes are really at an exorbitant rate. Then they've got the jock tax on some of these states. Then you've got management they got to pay for, right, and other things they got to pay.
you got property
So
taxes on those mansions.
yeah, depending on how they live. Some of these guys don't do the mansions, right? They do. I mean, heck, look at Kirk Cousins. He's got a normal house in the suburbs, literally. Like, if you're in Vegas, if you're living out by Red Rock or out in that area, and your house next door is for sale, and it's like a 4.3, Kirk Cousins might be your neighbor tomorrow. Like, be like Kirk Cousins, man. Jetta was doing that in Minnesota. He was living in a townhome, right? I think he's since moved out, but I mean, it was kind of funny. You saw his townhome with 2 like really expensive cars in the front of it. It's like, yeah. But still, I mean, they do pay out a lot of money. I mean, about half of what he makes probably goes to taxes and everything else. But still, I mean, yeah, I mean, dude, you're still set compared to the average person.
Mhm,
I mean, give me $1 million just to put in the bank, and I can probably just live off the interest.
mhm.
So I mean, come on. Um, you don't need the Bentley. You don't need. I mean, it's a car, big fucking deal. Brian Urlacher drove like an F-150 or something like that. He just drove a pickup truck. Um, I mean, but yeah, I don't think this dude's gonna get the bag and asking for the trade. Sure, if New York can get a first rounder for him, great on him. And maybe at this point it's worth it because maybe he's a cancer to the locker room with the "I want the bag" attitude. And now, usually guys who demand a trade, you kind of want to get rid of because they get bad in the locker room sometimes. So okay, maybe that, but I just don't know who's gonna want to pay him.
I don't think they're going to get a first. Like,
I
I
don't
don't
either.
see a scenario where a team is going to give you a first just for the privilege of paying him a market-setting contract.
Right.
Like, one of these things has to give. Either you're going to lower the draft compensation significantly, or the Giants are going to sign him to a long-term extension and then trade him and get their first-round pick.
Or they're just not going to do it. And he's going to sit out, and then they're going to tag him, and his career is basically over. Le'Veon Bell, anyone?
Well, he's already under contract, so I mean, if he don't play, he's not getting paid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's under contract,
and the Giants will retain his rights. And
yep, that's what I'm saying. And then they'll let me look this up again real quick. Let me see let's bring up his contract and look further. So his deal currently he's got his deal. Wow, he's no okay. Here's the deal. He's signed through 27. This year his cap number is 26.9. He is due no guaranteed salary, none. His base salary is 18.5, and then he's got his signing bonus, which he's getting, almost 7 million. He's got a $500,000 workout bonus. Basically, next year is the exact same. It's a little bit cheaper. It's 18 mil. So he's under contract for the next 2 years, making 18 mil per. Plus, he's got almost 7 mil in signing bonus coming to him per. Next year, he has a $2.5 million roster bonus on top of it. His cap number next year becomes 28.9. At this rate, he's lucky the Giants don't just cut him.
yeah, there's zero guaranteed money. So what would they take in debt if they were to cut him?
Let me go to post-June 1st on him. If they cut him post-June 1st, they take basically 6.9 million dead cap for the next 2 years.
That's manageable.
They're going to save over 20 million. They'll save 20 million on cap this year, 22 million on cap next year, and he's basically getting his 14 million between the 2 years of his prorated signing bonus.
Sounds to me like if he really wants out, that's the way.
Yeah.
For the Giants to cut him, and then he can go be a free agent and try to get on somewhere.
And he's not going to get the money.
No, in fact, I don't even think he's going to get what he's getting with the Giants.
Yep, there you go. Give me a raise or I'll leave. And then you give them the raise, and they end up, I mean.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the leverage. That's the problem. He has no guaranteed money left on his contract. So it's not like it puts a tremendous financial pinch on the Giants where they can't cut him. They can cut him and save 20 million on the cap, and he can go somewhere else. But when he does go somewhere else, he's going to find out like, oh man, coming off half a sack, people only want to pay me 10 million a year or 11 million.
And the money and power thing, like, for NFL players, it's not about money and power. It's about money in a short career. Because look, at most of these guys, the average career is what, 4 or 5 years, and they figure I gotta get myself set for life because I don't know what I'm gonna do post football. Fair enough, right? A lot of these, I mean, think about it. Of all the NFL players, how many of these guys get a good post NFL career in broadcasting? Right? Most of these guys end up having to go find an actual job afterwards. And they don't want jobs. They don't want to do the corporate grind. I get it. Right? But the irony is, even the guys who make the bag still go to the corporate grind. Why? Because they like to keep themselves busy. You're in your late 20s, early 30s, and you're fully retired. And you're like, I need something to do. Right? They go work on the family farm or take over the family farm or whatever. They're multimillionaires, but they do other things. But I mean, they've got the money in the bank, but for them, it's about setting themselves up so long term. Hey, I've got a roof over my head, my kids have food, blah blah blah. Some of them, yeah. I mean, it's like ballers. Yeah, dude. Some of them literally do. I mean, they buy car dealerships. Desmond Clark, we had in the show 2 years ago, right? Former Bear had an 8+ year career, whatever. He made bank, and he now runs a logistics company out of Orlando. So he's always busy. He's hustling still, making money. I mean, he could retire and never work again and live a comfortable life. But these guys all still go work, right? But I mean, for them, it's about security. The power thing, not so much. It's the power to do what you want when you get out of football job. But I mean, some of these guys, like, you're making 20 mil a year, dude. You don't have to do anything. And even if you're only keeping half of it and putting 10 mil a year in the bank, if you've done that for 5 or 6 years, dude, you're not working if you don't want to.
As long as you have a smart money guy who's managing your funds, you don't have to do shit. You can go coach Pee Wee football. Like that's your new
And
gig, dude.
on top of that, a guy like this, like Dexter Lawrence, he's put enough time in, he's gonna get a check from the NFL. He's gonna get a retirement check now, right? He's earned a retirement check. Let me see what's the NFL retirement benefit and eligibility. Let's check that out really quick. And this is what's going to blow people's mind. People don't realize these guys get a pension. Okay, so if a player has at least 3 credited seasons, they're considered vested. At vesting, players become vested after earning 3 credited seasons, which are earned by a period on a team's active, inactive, injured reserve, or physically unable to perform roster for at least 3 regular season or postseason games. Players can begin collecting benefits at age 55. Okay. But they get a pension. Players who meet the criteria get, okay, how much is the pension? There you go. The NFL pension amount. So guys who get pension. The minimum right now starts at approximately $1,000 for players with 3 credited seasons. There are increased benefits. The average pension is about 20 grand a year. It's not much, but it's something. But they get that, plus they get medical, right? They have medical coverage. They get insurance coverage after a couple of years of being in the NFL. They get some other perks. So the NFL is not completely done with them. Now, granted, they're waiting 30 years for it or 20-some years for it. Well, yeah. I mean, guys, some of these guys, well, but then again, you know what though, Fred? There's another thing with that. Like some of these guys make this big money, and 3 years after they're out of the league, they're flat broke because they bought 5 mansions, had a posse of 50 people they employed, bought $400,000 luxury sports cars that they got to pay for. They spend their money stupid. Like I said, be Kirk Cousins. Drive a minivan, live in a regular 4-3 like everyone else. Kirk Cousins will never run out of money
Yeah.
because he's not
And
stupid.
and I don't need a whole fleet of Lamborghinis, dude. I'd rather have a garage full of old muscle cars like Chargers and
Well, yeah, because
Chevelles and shit.
the maintenance on the Chevelle versus the Lamborghini is going to cost you 100 grand a year in maintenance. The Chevelle is going to cost you a $29.95 oil change.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And to me, give me a '68 Chevelle Super Sport any day, dude. Like the original SS, though, not the fake one.
So some of these guys spend their money stupid. Some of these guys put their money. The players are getting smarter overall, but I mean, some of these guys spend their money stupid. And they're broke 3 years after. But I'm like, this dude's not getting a bank. I'm sorry, he's just not. I
I don't
mean,
think so.
he'd probably be looking at a pay cut based off
Mhm.
for a prove-it year, which would be a pay cut.
Mhm.
I mean, you got 2 years, and here's the thing that I really don't like about this situation. Dude's got 2 years left on his contract. 2 years left on his contract. Like, dude, you're halfway in a 4-year deal, and you already want an extension? I mean, he's on a 4-year deal.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that, and we both know what that reason is. You said it earlier. It's because he
Yeah, he
has
wants-
zero guaranteed money left.
Yeah.
He wants guaranteed dollars. It's the players keep pushing for these fully guaranteed contracts, and it's like, I mean, I can't blame them for trying, right? Like, if you can get a fully guaranteed contract, a la Deshaun Watson, then good for you. But it's, you know, it's
I mean,
unrealistic.
he's getting a pay raise over last year, and a pay raise over in 2024. If you look at his money, he's making more money every year. He's going up. So I mean, I just don't. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, the dude has already made. He had $46 million, 46.5 million in guaranteed money. Right. By the way, his valuation is only $9.5 million. In 7 seasons, he's done well for himself. I mean, he's made, almost $100 million. But in 24, he signed a $90 million extension. You're halfway through it, and now you're already saying I'm only halfway through my $90 million extension, and I want more money, or I'm gonna sit, and you're not producing. Like, dude, read the room. You're set to make over the next 2 years, you know, north of $40 million.
North of 50, actually. He's like 26 million. I mean, if you count the signing bonus and
Yeah,
the salary, he's due to make over 50 million over the next 2 years.
over 50 million over the next 2 years, and you're already bitching about you want to
And all you got
raise.
to do is stay healthy.
Yeah, dude, that reminds me of Johnny Knox for the Bears, right? Great young wide receiver. He's only got his back pretty much broken. Like, he got bent over backwards against the Seahawks in a playoff game. Man, that was a brutal injury, and he can never play again. Like, that dude's got to get a regular job now, 'cause he never made bag money. He was on a rookie contract when it happened. Yeah,
Yeah, and he was good too. Like if he hadn't broke his back, like that dude was on. He was gonna be a big star.
so I mean, yeah, that kid was, he's probably working a regular gig now using that college degree. But this, I'm sorry, Dexter Lawrence, man, read the room. I mean, you just signed. You're halfway, not even halfway through, and he was talking. He wanted extension during the season last year, so the Giants were trying to trade him at the deadline, and they
Actually,
couldn't get it.
from what I read, it's been 2 years. Like he's been complaining about getting a new contract with the Giants for the last 2 years, and it's like
Since he signed the contract, he's been
since
complaining
he
about
signed the
getting.
contract, he's wanted a new contract. Well, then why did you sign the contract to begin with, buddy? Like, you know, it's like, well, I'll take this for now, but I'm gonna complain. Like, no, just
and not perform. I'm gonna
and I like
complain.
him. He's a
and
great
not
player. Like I like Dexter Lawrence. He's been a great player. He's been an all pro. Like, last year, okay, I can count that as like, okay, you had a down year, right? Um, you're probably due for a resurgence, but even if you had a 10 or 12 sack season, I don't see that as being worth $25 million a year as a defensive tackle. That's crazy, dude.
And like, I know there are already some Bears fans that's all post this morning. Oh, we shouldn't trade. No, we shouldn't trade for him. He's not worth the money. Right now. I consider him a project. Coming off injury, half sack, 12 pressures. No, and he wants bag to play. No, why am I going to pay this dude 30 mil a year, which is probably what he's looking for? 22 is not, or 26 isn't enough, right? I mean, oh, I'm sorry. 27 million is not enough for me this year. Next year he's getting 29. That's not enough? Yeah, no, that's too much.
Yeah. Honestly, if I was the Giants, I know it would hurt to cut him because, you watch him go ball out somewhere else. But there's a lot of good defensive tackles in this draft. Like you could get way cheaper at that position and save yourself
Well,
to add someone else over the course of the summer, huh?
you know what, Joe? You just wait to see if no one suckers up and gives you a first or second round pick. You just let them sit there, and then, like you said, if you can draft the guy you want to replace him in the draft, you wait to post June 1st and say, "Deuces." Now you're making no money.
Mm-hmm.
You've
And
got that signing. You got 14 mil, almost 14 million signing bonus coming. Deuces, and see if anyone's willing to pay him what he wants. And when he doesn't get what he wants, it'd be funny to see if he signs for it or just is out of the league.
he'll sign.
Well, see, but he would think, but was it Michael Irvin when he left the Cowboys? Right, Jerry didn't want to pay him because he wanted the bag too. And then, he shopped himself around. I remember this: the Baltimore Ravens offered him a contract, like a 3-year. It was like 8 or 9 million a year, which at the time was good money. And he turned it down because it wasn't enough. He wanted the bag, and he never played again. And he was still one of the better receivers in the league when that happened. Like, people are like, wow, he's out of the league. Tyreek Hill could be out of the league. The guy, I mean, think about how fast these guys leave the league sometimes.
Yeah.
This dude could be out of the league. He gets cut. People
But you're
aren't going to
20.
want to pay.
But Michael Irvin was like in his 30s at that point, and this dude is 28. I can't. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying that there's no
No,
chance that
there's
he would retire.
differences for sure,
Yeah,
but he was
I just feel like a 28-year-old guy,
so the
like he
Ravens
knows he's still
offered him
got.
the Ravens offered him bank though, and he turned it down because he wasn't going to be the highest paid.
Right.
Right? That's the only thing
I
we make it
get it.
into. I mean,
I'm
this
just
dude
saying
wants
this
to be the
guy's
highest
28.
with no
This,
production.
yeah, this
No
guy's
production.
28 with no production. You're right, but this guy's 28, which makes me think that he's like he knows that he could play another 5 years. You know,
Maybe.
so maybe 5 years. So it's like at least three. He's probably got three that he could play at a high level if if he's still going to play at a high level.
But
But
if he gets cut, he's not going to be in a position where if he's still demanding the bag, people aren't going to pay him, and he
yeah,
could end up out of the league.
yeah, and I mean honestly, if I was him, there's a lot of wisdom sometimes in just keeping your fucking mouth shut because like you're gonna get cut and then you're gonna go sign for 10 million somewhere else when you could have just shut up and played for the Giants and made 25. Like,
It, and I get this thing where guys want all this guaranteed money, blah 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 blah, guaranteed. I want guaranteed, and I understand why teams look at the risk reward on these guys. Like DJ Moore, why does DJ Moore keep getting restructures to keep his contracts guaranteed? Because his health and his production make it worth it, right? You look at these guys who get these guarantees. Their history, their track record proves that they're worth the risk, right? And especially you look at Deshaun Watson's contract. There's why they're not worth the risk. So you get a guy like DJ Moore every year keeps getting extended money or secured money. Why? Because he keeps proving that he produces. And he's going to be on the field. He's not going to be a headache. And he just goes out there and does his job. That's why the first thing the Bills did was guarantee his money, not just for this year, but for next year. Because he's a proven commodity. And when they did the math, he's worth the risk. Now you're looking at Dexter Lawrence, who wants wants the bag, but he wants guaranteed money. Dude, you're not worth the guaranteed money. But be happy you're making almost, 26 mil this year.
yeah. But I will, to be fair to Dexter Lawrence, he had one down year, I know we're harping on that half a sack. It's possible that it's just, his elbow was acting up and he had one bad year. So,
Okay, so if he has a good year this year, okay, he's not guaranteed, but he's going to play the year. They're not, if they don't cut him, he's
mhm,
right. I mean, I get it. He wants insurance for not being cut. The problem is he's kind of created a situation where he's going to get cut. But let's say he plays well this year, Joe, right? And let's say he gets 6, 7 sacks. Who cares about the guarantee? Do you think they're going to cut you then, the next year when you're making 29 mil? No, but now you're in a position to ask for a raise. So that's the other thing about this situation. You got 2 years left in your contract. They've shown no signs of cutting you, but now you're giving them reason to cut.
mhm,
Like you
yeah,
said, wisdom and being quiet.
yeah. Honestly, you have the whole contract situation is about leverage, and right now you have none. So you're coming off a half a sack season. So your best bet is to shut up, play hard this year, ball out on that 25 million, make your 25 million. Then you have 1 year left on your contract. You have a reason to be able to go to New York and say, "Hey, how about a new contract?" Like,
Maybe the dude just wants New York. Well, he doesn't have to even live in New York. He can live in Jersey. So yeah, that's not the reason. I don't know. It just sometimes I hate it. Just I hate. I don't hate. I say it's just when you get this situation right before the draft, it just kind of sucks because teams that may have been willing to make a move on them now won't because they've spent their money.
yeah,
It's not about the draft capital. If he's worth the first or second round pick, that's not the issue. Like if the Bears thought he was worth it, I'm sure they'd give up number 25 for him. The problem is the money piece. You've spent your
mhm,
money. And the teams that have money left, I mean, yeah, this is the guy that is not chasing a ring; he's chasing a paycheck. Cool, because the teams that are left don't aren't good for the most part. It should be interesting to see if he gets moved. I don't know. I would think his chance of getting moved, I'd put it at like 5%. I don't think they're going to be able to trade him for what they want, and he's not going to get the bank he wants because you know how these work. You know, hey, we've got a deal on the table. The Jets want you. Okay, cool. Let me talk. But you know, I know you're part of this is contingent on the bank. So why don't we let your your guy talk to their guy because that's how these things happen, right? Because the Jets like, well, we're not going to trade for him if he's not going to sign. So they say, well, hey, you can talk to him, right? So then the Jets GM gets on the horn with his agent, say, okay, look, we have a deal in place with your current team to trade for you. What's the contract need to look like? And if they can't hammer out a contract, the trade doesn't happen, right?
Yep.
So that's the other piece is like, even if he finds a team that's willing to trade for him and give up the draft capital, he's got to find a team that's willing to pay him that kind of stupid money for not producing.
I mean, I could possibly the Titans. The Titans need so much help that it's possible that they could be that dumb. But to me, especially like if I'm Dexter Lawrence, dude, shut the fuck up. Like John Harbaugh is now your coach. Like, you're on a team that while you're not necessarily a winning team now, like you're on a team that's on the ascension, like I think the Giants, I like what they've been putting together over the last couple years. Like I think they have a chance to start competing for that division here soon, especially depending on how this draft pans out for them. I don't think they're that far off.
Yeah. Maui decided to make an appearance today, we see.
Like, so why be unhappy now when you finally you've sat in New York through terrible losing seasons. Now you're finally on the cusp of like possibly being a relevant team.
Yeah, I don't get it. I just I don't know. Should be interesting. I mean, and with this draft class, this is probably not the right draft class for you to try to play this with a lot of good defensive tackles and edges and linebackers and whatnot in this draft.
Yeah, this is a
Like,
deep defensive tackle class, man.
yeah, you would have been better off, with a year where the draft sucks at your position, but it doesn't. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just bad timing on his part. Read the room. You got 2 years left. And that's the thing too. Like, if you're a team, you're looking at like the dude's got 2 years left on a 4-year deal, and he's already threatening to hold out in year 3 of the contract. Like, I can understand. I think most people understand. Hey, if, between year 3 and 4, you would get the situation, not between years 2 and 3 of a 4-year deal. So, like, if I ink him to a deal, am I going to be in the same boat a year or 2 down the line? Let's say I give him 2 years of guaranteed money. Am I going to be in the same boat 2 years from now? GMs are looking at that too. It's just like, yeah, the guy he pulled the trigger too early. You're making 26 mil this year. Make your money, man. Take your 26 mil to the bank. And I get after you pay out everything, you're maybe taking home 13. Cool. Put it in the bank and then play this game next year.
Yeah.
No sense whatsoever. But thus is the NFL, and people don't make sense in general. Hence, we get stupid people winning stupid prizes all the time for all kinds of crazy crap. So that's the big shakeup, I guess. I mean, otherwise, it's more about the only thing really in the news, unless something broke while we're on, and I haven't checked. Let me check. I don't think anything's broken today. It's been slow. It's been like so and so. We're seeing a couple visits. That's about it. Yeah, Schefter's actually talking, like about basketball and stuff. Even now. That's how boring it is. He's reposting NCAA basketball stuff. So yeah, I mean, Oh, geez. Dan Orlovsky lost the bet, though, and has to wear a Michigan dangling earring for the last month, for the next month. Well, congrats on Michigan on being national champs for basketball. That's great. But yeah,
Yeah,
since the Kirk Cousins signing, there hasn't really been anything else going on in the league.
yeah. Kirk Cousins actually signed his contract yesterday,
Yeah.
so yeah,
And
I'm excited about that.
I think that might be one of the best moves in the offseason, to be honest with you. And
For more
people go,
than one
"Yeah, but
reason.
why? You're drafting the guy number 1 overall." But and we've talked about it, why, but that, it's a great deal. Are I mean, and that's the thing, I don't think people in Vegas are complaining, are they, Joe?
No, because they see it as a 1 year, $20 million deal. Like people in Vegas, at least the Raider fans that I see their comments and stuff like that. And I'm also on Facebook. There's Raider fan pages and stuff.
Yep.
Everybody seems to understand that this is a 1 year, $20 million deal with an insurance policy in case for whatever reason Mendoza isn't ready next year. You have a 2 year option on Kirk. I don't think anybody really expects that option to be exercised. Because 40 million, I mean, even 40 million for a starting quarterback is the going rate. You know, it's a little bit cheap, but it's more about just, you know, you're paying $20 million to make Fernando Mendoza as comfortable as possible, and it's a good move. I've actually, a lot of the NFL pundits on like the NFL shows have been praising the signing as well. Like, even though they disagree, you know, some of them say there's no way Kirk is going to start. Like, you don't draft Mendoza number 1 overall to sit him. And then there's others who are like, no, that's exactly why you signed Kirk Cousins, so that Mendoza can
Yeah.
sit. Like, so there's disagreement about whether Kirk is going to play or not, but nobody that I've seen so far, other than maybe Stephen A. Smith, thinks it's a bad signing. Like, they all think it's a smart move.
Yeah, I mean, I is the intent to start him? Maybe not. Maybe not. But, because you are drafting the guy number 1 overall, you kind of the fan base, I think, would want him to start, but at the same time, now that you've signed Kirk, I think even the fan base might surprise people and be like, if Kirk starts, they're not gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
Especially if Kirk is Kirk. If he's throwing the ball well, not turning it over, the Raiders are competitive, and even if they're losing games, but they're losing close games and it's not Kirk's fault because of interceptions or something, the fans aren't gonna be screaming for Mendoza. It gives them the opportunity to even go for 2 years with Kirk Cousins and let Mendoza grow and become a better polished player. It also gives them the opportunity, I'm gonna make Dan Orlovsky very happy, to draft Ty Simpson instead and let him grow for 2 years under Kirk Cousins. If they think that Ty is better than Mendoza, right, in terms of long-term prospect, they now have the flexibility at number 1 to do that with Kirk being there. So either way you look at it, even if you wanna throw that, I threw that out there just to give Orlovsky a break because he has to wear a Michigan earring now. But I mean, look at the Raiders have that, and I think this is a situation where the fan base won't be chanting for the rook to come in week 1 because you got Kirk Cousins there, who's a proven commodity in the NFL, who's still a good quarterback. And
Yeah.
unless he shits the bed,
The only scenario where I could see fans clamoring for Mendoza is if we're 6, 7 games into the season and we're 1-6 or 2-5. And then
Right.
fans are going to be like, why are we starting this dude? Like, let's put the rookie in there because we could be 1-6 with the rookie. Like, at least he's getting his lumps in now. But I don't see that being the case with the additions that the Raiders made in the offseason. They still have the draft to complement, get some more pieces that they need. Like, I think a more realistic, let's say Kirk is not Kirk anymore, right? Like, let's say he's 70% of Kirk. If they're 3-4 after 7 games, I don't think that you scream for his head. Like,
No, you don't.
it's like you weren't expecting to win the Super Bowl this year, right? Like, this is all about. I think it just requires Raiders fans to be consistent in what they're saying. Like, which, granted, is hard for NFL fans to be consistent, right?
Just a bit. And then he freezes. Just a bit. Yeah, and oh, there you go. You froze up there, Joe.
Yeah, it's like you're cool. We're cool. You've already said we're cool with Cousins this year, as long so that Mendoza can sit and learn because we want to try to maximize his opportunity to play well, right? So now, if shit starts going sour, you don't get to say like, "Well, fuck the whole plan." Like, let's just throw Mendoza in there now, right? It's like you're no in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm one of those people. Like, you're not going to hear me, even if we're 1-6. You're not going to hear me say, "Oh, it's time to put the kid in there." It's like
Yeah,
I
I
do
think.
want to see him play this season, like
Yeah,
in
I
some
think you
garbage
can get
time,
yeah, you can get him some time in garbage time, whether you're way up or way down.
Hmm.
You could definitely do that, or if and look, if Kirk gets hurt, then you'll probably see him there as well. But I mean, this move, excuse me, I'm sorry. This move by the Raiders is one of the better moves we've seen with a team who has the number one pick, and everyone knew they're going to take the quarterback, and then they go out and sign a big name quarterback who still has big playability. Like, don't take what happened in Atlanta last year as what Kirk is. Take what happened in Atlanta before he got hurt in that Saints game when he was Atlanta was tearing it up with him at quarterback, and he was setting quarterback records for the franchise. He's still a good quarterback, and he's one of the smarter quarterbacks in the game. He's a great mentor slash coach, even for your young quarterback. Best move of the offseason, I think, so far. Like, it has to be
one of
one.
them for sure.
Yeah, one of them for sure.
To
I
me,
mean,
it's signing Linderbaum, even though they overpaid. To me, signing Linderbaum was the best move of the Raiders offseason because you absolutely needed him and you had to get it done, and you did. Whether you overpaid, so
well,
what?
that's the other thing, Joe, is now you're giving the right side of that offensive line time to get better before you put the young kid in there. Kirk Cousins used to having bad offensive line. He had bad offensive lines in Minnesota. He had them in Atlanta, and he still thrived. So it gives you more time to fix that line a little bit. That line to come of age, and be a better protector of the quarterback.
Yeah.
Why throw the young guy out there to face that when you can have Kirk Cousins do it?
Yeah, and I've said it like I even if they wanted to start Mendoza at some point this year, even if Kirk is like your first half of the season solution, right? Like, I don't want to see Mendoza touch the field until we know what that offensive line is,
Yeah.
and it takes 6 to 8 weeks for that line to really like come together and you see what you have.
I mean, it can happen faster for the Bears. But we had the early bye week, and that's going to be a factor too. Because the Bears, when they came out of the bye week in week 6, that line was completely different than the first 4 weeks. But even in weeks 3 and 4, you started to see that line do things. The first 2 games, it was like, oh, okay. But yeah, you wait till like like you said, week 6, 7, 8, you start to see where this line is, and if it's improved enough. And if the Raiders are winning, you're obviously going to stick with Kurt. You have no reason to go to Mendoza.
Yeah.
I mean, so great move there.
Even if you're losing, even if you're 3-4, like I said, if you're 3-4, you're not out of it. Like, stick with Kirk. Like,
it really, even if you end up winning like 6, 7 games and get it, around the 15th pick or something, you're perfect for Mendoza because now you can go get a right tackle or a right guard, and he's ready to go the next year. And you may even keep Kirk for that second year just to create more competition.
I don't know about at $40 million. That's my only concern. If he was willing to restructure, like, I possibly, but I don't want to pay Kirk $40 million.
I don't think his contract.
What's that?
Well, you've got 100. You've got this. This is pre Kirk Cousins contract. For next year, you have 29 under contract right now and 108 million in cap space. So I mean, you could keep him and still have 60 million left. You could, and well, actually, probably less than that, probably about 50 million, 45, 50 million after the draftees from this year are in there. So you could
I don't want
keep,
to. Not at that
no,
price.
it'd be a luxury. It'd be a luxury.
Yeah.
But it depends on what else is out there available for you to spend money on, and where if you might be in a situation where you spend your money and you can still keep them because you got to be cap compliant with NFLPA, so to speak. So I mean, it would be a luxury thing, or like we said, it's hey, Mendoza's not going to work thing, so activate the safety net. Good deal, better than and you look at what the Raiders did there with Kirk versus what Lawrence is trying to do with his contract with the Giants. You're like, be like Kirk, be smart. You know what I mean? I just it'll be funny to see how this plays out over the next couple weeks. Yeah, as we get closer to the draft, I don't know. I put his odds of getting drafted or traded at pretty damn low.
I think if he's going to be traded, it'll probably be on draft night, because I could see a team giving up a second round pick for him, but it's just the contract that's going to be the real.
Yeah.
But there's also a possibility, like this is just spitballing here, but a team could say, like, we're willing to give you a second round pick for him, and then we'll just take his existing contract and just restructure it to where we give him some guaranteed money.
Yeah, but I mean, they could do that now. The Giants could do that now, and it's like, but he wants to be the highest paid.
Yeah,
That's the other part.
I
And
mean,
it's like it's just not just guaranteed. He wants to be like paid. It's like I could see maybe a scenario where he gets traded after the draft because the team doesn't get what they want in the draft, and then they're more willing, and then like it's a little more protection. Like, okay, I'll give you next year's second round pick, but if the guy holds out, I keep my pick back. Uh-oh, he's on the Facebook page today. At the end of the day, he comes in. We have a jack-off in the comments. Morning, Jack Wagon.
yeah, I don't know. I could see him being traded on draft night, but I don't think he's going to get the contract he's looking for. I think that his best case scenario is a team, like I said, decides, okay, look, we're willing to throw you some guaranteed money this year. We'll restructure your deal at a void year or something, so we can give you some guaranteed money this year. But that's the best we can do. Like, you're going to play for your current number, and we'll just guarantee that for you for this year.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Uh-oh. Well, hope you feel better soon, brother. And speaking of coming home and leaving, I have to leave. I have a thing I have to do. I have to leave precisely at 11 a.m. So, and we're at that time anyway. So, hey, I'll be back Monday. Ken will be here tomorrow with Joe. Should be back. I texted him this morning, so he knows. Guys, enjoy your what today? Is it Wednesday? Tuesday.
Tuesday.
There you go. I'm off to go see my oldest boy graduate from Air Force Basic Training. So I'll be back Monday. Y'all have a great rest of the week, great weekend. So I won't see you until then. Yeah, have a good one, everyone. Keep it frosty. Thanks for watching.
Have a good trip, man.
Thank you, brother. Have a good day.